Hey everybody, it's Dan Cheney, and it's time for another Music Charts Archive show on DJNTV. This week we'll be talking about records that were Underachievers, 1980 edition. That means we're going to go through 10 songs from 1980 that didn't make the top 40, but I think should have. We'll go through them in the order that they actually did chart from lowest to highest. There's some big names on this list, and you'll probably be surprised by some of the songs we'll hear because some of them are pretty well known. So stay where you are, and we'll check out my list of 10 underachieving songs from 1980 on this week's edition of the Music Charts Archive Show.
DJ Event Planner will change the way you manage and run your business. Streamline all of your procedures and software into one easy-to-manage system. DJ Event Planner, the ultimate online planning tool.
Welcome to this week's Music Charts Archive show. We're going to go through a list of 10 songs from 1980 that didn't make the top 40, but I think should have. So let's start the chart. Number 10 on the list is Cheap Sunglasses by ZZ Top. By 1980, ZZ Top had two top 40 singles, Tush and I Thank You. Cheap Sunglasses was from the same album as I Thank You, called Diguello. Cheap Sunglasses only got as high as number 89 in July of 1980. Lead guitarist Billy Gibbons said the amplifier used during the recording of the song had a blown tube, which added to the tonal characteristics of the song. Cheap Sunglasses have been sampled by EPMD and Kid Rock. The song was written while the band was touring in cars and would stop at gas stations and buy cheap sunglasses. Number 9 on our list is Time for Me to Fly by REO Speedwagon. This song was actually first released in 1978 from the album You Can Tune a Piano, But You Can't Tune a Fish. At that time, it reached number 56 on the charts. In 1980, the band re-released it from their album A Decade of Rock and Roll, and this time it only peaked at number 77. REO Speedwagon wouldn't have their first top 40 single until about a year later with Keep On Lovin' You. The song Time for Me to Fly, along with the band, was recently featured in an episode of the Netflix show Ozark. At number 8, we have Supertramp and Breakfast in America. This song is from the album of the same name, an album that was by far Supertramp's most commercially successful. The album was number 1 for 6 non-consecutive weeks in 1979. Top 40 hits from that album included The Logical Song, Goodbye Stranger, and Take the Long Way Home. The song Breakfast in America peaked at number 62 at the very end of December 1980. Roger Hodgson had written the song years earlier about a British lad who had dreams of moving to America, which Hodgson, eventually did. At number 7, we have Borrowed Time by Styx. Borrowed Time was the third single from their 1979 album Cornerstone, the album that contains Styx's only number 1 song, Babe. Borrowed Time reached number 64 in April of 1980. The band opened their 1979-80 concert tour with this song and used it as an encore in the 1981-82 Paradise Theater concert tour. Singer and songwriter Dennis D. Young said that he is the character in the song. He wanted to say something about how he felt as a guy who grew up in the 60s and a teenager when things were really wonderful in the country in his eyes, and does not know what the hell happened after that. At number 6, Here Comes My Girl by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Here Comes My Girl was the third single from the Damn the Torpedoes album, an album which contained their first top 10 hit, Don't Do Me Like That. Here Comes My Girl would only reach number 59 in May of 1980. This song, along with Refugee, started as demos written by guitarist Mike Campbell at his house. Campbell said Petty was trying to figure out how to sing the verses and eventually tried basically just half talking them, and in his words, that's when the song just came to life. show this week. Today we're going through 10 songs from 1980 that didn't make the top 40, but should have. And it's time for the top 5. Number 5 on the list is Rock Lobster by the B-52s. Most people these days probably think Love Shack when you mention the B-52s, but for my generation, Rock Lobster was played at virtually every house party in college. There were actually 2 versions of this song. The first was released in '78, but this version, the version that actually peaked, was in number 56 in May of 1980 and was from the band's self-titled debut album. Singer Fred Schneider said that the song was inspired by a disco in Atlanta called 2001, which would display slideshows during music, and those slideshows often included pictures of lobsters on a grill. The shrieks and animal sound effects found in the song were kind of an homage to Yoko Ono, whose work often contains those types of noises. At number 4 on our list is What I Like About You by the Romantics. This song became really well known over the years after it was licensed for advertising campaigns. But on its initial release, it only reached number 49 in March of 1980. It was their first chart single from their first self-titled debut album, and the song was actually a big hit in Australia, where it hit number 2. The band tried to sue the makers of Guitar Hero for including a sound-alike version of the song in the game, but they lost. What I Like About You has been covered by Michael Morales, whose version reached number 28, and also by 5 Seconds of Summer. Number 3 on the list, Gotta Have More Love by Climax Blues Band. Climax Blues Band was formed in 1967 as the Climax Chicago Blues Band. They shortened the name to Climax Blues Band in 1972 and have gone through a lot of lineup changes over the years. The band has a couple pretty big hits, first in 1976 with Couldn't Get It Right, and I Love You, which charted right after this song. I Love You and Gotta Have More Love were both from the Flying the Flag album. Gotta Have More Love isn't that well known these days, but I really liked it, so I put it in the list. It peaked at number 47 at the very end of 1980. At number 2, we have Rod Stewart, and I Don't Want to Talk About It. Now, this song was written by Danny Whitten of the band Crazy Horse, and it was Neil Young's band that first recorded the song in 1971. Rod Stewart covered the song in '75 for his album Atlantic Crossing, but Stewart's version wasn't a single in the US until it was included on his Greatest Hits Volume 1 album. Stewart's version peaked at number 46 in February of 1980. Stewart released yet another version of the song in 1990 as part of his Storyteller album. And that version, while it didn't make the Hot 100, it did reach number 2 on the Adult Contemporary chart. And the final song in this week's list of songs that didn't make the top 40 in 1980 but should have, we have You Better Run by Pat Benatar. Pat Benatar's signature song might be Hit Me With Your Best Shot from the Crimes of Passion album, but it was not the first single from that album. This song was. You Better Run fell just short of the top 40. It reached number 42 in August of 1980. The song was actually a cover and was originally written and recorded by the Young Rascals. Their version was a top 20 hit in 1966 and was the follow-up to their number 1 classic, Good Lovin'. The music video for Pat Benatar's You Better Run was the second video ever played on MTV, right after Video Killed the Radio Star. Well, there you have it. There you have 10 songs from 1980 that should have been top 40 hits. Which one on the list is your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'm going with Rock Lobster, and I think right after that, probably Borrowed Time and What I Like About You. So I've got a couple honorable mentions. Turn It On Again by Genesis, The Breaks by Curtis Blow, Good Morning Girl, Stay a While by Journey, Run Like Hell by Pink Floyd, and I Don't Like Mondays by Boomtown Rats. This has been Dan Cheney for the Music Charts Archive Show, and be sure to join me again next time for another Top 10 list right here on DJNTV.